Josh, really appreciate you hopping on today. You and I had a conversation recently, and you said something that's been on my mind. I wanted to get back, see if we could capture it on a quick video. So, continuing on our behind closed doors series, where we get the opportunity daily to meet with really fascinating people, but the rest of the world doesn't get to see it. I would love to find out really what you meant by don't send the fire department to every pan fire. You're the COO at Happy. Can you double click on that and kind of unpack what exactly you meant by that?
Yeah, so I think startups are finding a lot of space right now in places where there's really expensive resources and there's no alternatives. And Happy is one of those situations, and a great opportunity for us, but a great opportunity, more importantly, to help a lot of people. And one of the easiest ways to describe the situation is, first, we provide peer-based proactive emotional support. So we're calling everyone in the population. We go out, we support you, we come to you, break down all the friction. The second piece is we have a large group. It's all the people that we kind of very carefully screen. We got a proprietary method for it and find the most caring people in the world. And so we have a lot of people who are former caregivers who are just burnt out and want to work from their home for a while. Maybe they had kids and need to spend more time. So that's our large support giver network of peers, right? So with the peers, they're providing two things: emotional support and validation. A little bit different than your clinical, who will do emotional support validation for about 90% of the time, but then also tap into some of those the high-end skills that they've learned in universities. Most people, though, may not need those high-end skills. And as we think about this, okay, if I can provide 90% of what they're doing with a lower cost, it allows us to reach more people because more people economically can access it. The second thing is you can free up those psychologists to work with the people who need their high-end training. And so the example I always use is, this is a pan fire on your stove, right? And your first option, you can dump the grease out in the sink. Wham, it's done, right? Second, maybe a little bit bigger, and you've got to pull out your fire extinguisher. Either way, problem solved, house doesn't burn down. That's kind of like being on the scale of you're having some crisis and you get some support early, right? Mom didn't pick up the phone. I'm not suicidal. I'm right here on the spectrum. And instead of letting it compound, maybe I feel lonely, I go to bar, I get DUI, this happens next, or I get lonely, very unhappy, not good attitude at work, get fired, right? Things can start compounding. We kind of address it just like dumping the pan fire out early. Happy can handle all the pan fires. So imagine if for every pan fire on every stove, you had to call the fire department and you couldn't touch it yourself, right? So one, the amount of scale and calls they just can't handle, not unlike the clinical psychologist right now. The scale of the problem is so big they can't handle it. The second thing is, kind of as an example, and these statistics are out there, but also our personal experiences as we talk to clients, say it's 9 weeks for an intake appointment, for a clinical psychology appointment, then it's 7 more weeks for your first appointment. Well, that's 16 weeks. So the other piece of this is, it's not only can the fire department not handle the scale, but currently, since we are calling them for all those, you got to wait 16 weeks for the fire department to show up, right? The house is burnt down by then, right? You've moved down that scale into farther crisis. So some of our best partnership comes with the fire department, or in this case, the clinical psychologist, because if we can reduce their wait times, or if we can give people a bridging mechanism, that's advantageous. So bridging mechanism is Happy can start calling as soon as they sign up for an intake appointment once a week, if you wanted a cadence, right? Or the person can always ask us to talk every day if they need to bridge them into the clinical. Most of the time you're going to see, though, they need support. It's a time of loss, time of grief, job transition, right? And you can give them the support they need so they don't compress problems and compound problems, but then they may not even need the clinical. That actually helps the clinical, because then they can see the people that need their very, very high-end, highly trained support more frequently, right, in the time of the epidemic. So that's the fire department example. And that's kind of an example of how any startup where there's a high cost can find opportunity, ways to supplement a portion of that and handle the scale of problems.
I love it, Josh. Really appreciate you sharing this. Hopefully our listeners find it valuable as they build their own companies. And again, thank you so much for hopping on this morning.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Take care.